I recently read a book called 2 Weeks Notice, which was actually written by a marketing expert named Amy Porterfield. Now she talks about 3 main concepts in her book focused on starting your own business in an effort to quit your job. Now these concepts are finding your sweet spot, creating an avatar, and then growing your online email list by using basically lead magnets, which I will talk about some of the best ones she recommends in her book as well. What she calls the sweet spot is actually an intersection of 4 things. The first thing is finding something that you are 10% better at somebody else at. So she's trying to say, like, you don't need to be a far-fledged super expert in an area, you just need to be slightly better than another person, and she's saying around 10%. You also need to find a struggle in which people are willing to pay to resolve and get rid of. So basically finding a problem, finding a challenge, finding a struggle that a customer would come into contact with. Next, you want to look at profit potential, and that's just basically doing market research. Okay, who's talking about these struggles or this problem? Are there books about it? Are there podcasts about it? Are there online courses about it? Trying to figure out, are people actually paying, and you have profit available in this research area? The last thing is finding something that lights you up. So something you're very passionate about. So like on my YouTube channel, I talk about books and I talk about software. Those are the 2 things that I'm most passionate about. I'm not gonna come on here and talk about a lot of other things outside of that area. Now, the other thing she talks about in her book is actually this idea of having a customer avatar. And so I actually put together ideal subscriber, right? Because I'm looking at my ideal YouTube subscriber, and she kind of talks you through, hey, you should name them, you should figure out what their ages are, what is their occupation. So if I zoom in here, you'll see that I have made 2 avatars, right? I have Rebecca and Zach. I have their ages, I have their education, how much do they make, what are their job positions called, what are their goals, right? What are their opinions, interests, behaviors? What type of content do they consume, right? What kind of podcasts are they watching? What kind of books are they reading? And really dive deep in finding what your avatars are. So you can make 1, you can make 2. I suggest probably 1, I think 2 is a little bit an overkill, but I will link this worksheet below so you guys can kind of play around with it and make your own. Mine is really just going towards people in their late 20s, mainly because I'm in my late 20s, and their educational background will be very similar to mine because I'm trying to be just 10% above, right? Like I'm not trying to be with, have an avatar that's not in the same educational sphere, because I don't know anything outside of, right, like my mechanical engineering degree. So I kind of have that as a baseline just to keep it consistent with where I'm at so I can actually help. Now, she also recommends basically getting some of these avatars on a meeting, right? Find real people, meet with them for 20 minutes, ask them very detailed questions, right? Tell me about how you came across this new software, or if you're doing, a baking business, how'd you come across baking, stuff like that. So depending on what your business is, like my YouTube channel's very books and software, so I would talk about software. What are your biggest frustrations in software? What has stopped you from taking action, right? Have you searched online for solutions? How would you feel if you got a solution, right? Where do you spend most of your time online? And really start validating to make sure that your avatar in your mind is actually what people are thinking and doing, and it's not just you creating something. You want to go out and research, go meet with people and ask them these sorts of questions. Now, one of the last concepts in her book is talking about growing an email list. Now, what she means by this is basically you don't own your audience when you're on YouTube or Twitter or wherever. You don't own them, right? There's no way to go contact them if they shut down YouTube, right? So building an email list so you can communicate, you can send offers, you can send really cool opportunities, stuff like that, or sell products to, is very important. Now, she says she likes to do lead magnets. Now, she's the head of like marketing gurus, right? So I'm gonna believe that this is what you should do. She basically is saying you should give something away for free in exchange for their email. So you give them a checklist or a guide or something, and then they give you your email, and then you give them the guide, and it's an exchange. And then you can grow your list while also giving away really good content. Now, how's the best way to make some of these lead magnets, right? So I actually recommend Canva. So if you go in here, you can type in a guide, right? Let's say you want to make a guide. you can go and grab one of these, right? And use it, right? Customer conversations, helpful prompts. So that would be a prompt, right? You have ultimate guides, right? You can go and copy these, right? The morning skincare, step-by-step guide. This would be perfect as a little, you give this for free, you get an email in exchange, right? She also recommends checklists. Those are really high converting. So you could type in checklist, and you could use any, graphic design tool, but I like Canva because it's very simple. So you can do any of these checklists, right? Cleaning checklist, wedding checklist, to-do checklist, like all these checklists, right? You could do one that works for you, right? Like I could do a software checklist or a book checklist, whatever. So those are really high converting lead magnets as well. Some other big ones are like a training. So if you type in training in here, you could do just a quick little training. It might be a little bit more extreme than a simple checklist. A mini course is another one. I don't know if they're gonna have stuff like this, but I think they're doing mini golf. But you could find some examples online, but I really like Canva because you can search through here and try to find something and then kind of alter it to make it your own, which is really nice. Challenges are also very popular. So a little challenge, right? 28-day gratitude challenge, autumn self-care challenge, right? You could do a quiz too. That's another big one. So we can go in here and type quiz and see if there's any quizzes that you could probably do. So there's lots of options. Just go through Canva, start looking through there. Checklists are like number one. Prompts are also really good. And challenges are also really easy to make as well. So those are the three that I suggest and the ones that she mentioned in her book. Okay, so you made your lead magnet, right? You've got it, you're ready, you want to give it away in exchange for the email. How do you go about doing that? That is the question I started to look for when I read this book. I'm like, okay, cool. How do I make sure that it's automatically sent? Because I don't want to be like basically emailing it to them, right? Like I would have to be on my phone constantly. What if they ask for it at midnight or whatever? So ConvertKit actually has this functionality, and this is what I'm going to be doing. This is going to be the workflow. Basically, you can come into ConvertKit. Now I'm on the free plan, right? You can do the creator plan and pay, I think it's like $15 a month. I'll link it below. And you can actually run everything through ConvertKit, right? If you're brand new, just start with ConvertKit and just do it from ConvertKit. Now I already have all my stuff on Ghost, and to move it all the way to ConvertKit is kind of annoying. So I'm going to do basically build some stuff in ConvertKit and then use Zapier to link it to my Ghost. So it's a little bit more nuanced, but if you're new, just don't do what I did. Start with just one platform, right? So what I'm going to do is you actually can go into Grow and do a landing page or forms, right? So I have a software freebie form. So you can come into here, you can customize it, whatever, make the background, change the stuff, blah, right? They put in their email address, they click download. This will automatically send them a freebie, right? You can set up an automation in ConvertKit that basically, if this, then this, right? If someone signs up using this form, send this in the background, right? So very cool stuff. You can also, automate it outside of ConvertKit, but ConvertKit has automation inside. So if you're not great with automation, just use the in-house automation for ConvertKit. So you can build all that. I have a video on exactly how to do that. I will link it below. But build your stuff and then bam, set up the automation in ConvertKit and you're golden. That's your lead magnet. Then you can make a bunch. You can also use the automation to tag. So if they do the software freebie, right? You can tag them as software interested, or if you did something else, like a construction mini course or something, you can tag them as construction. So that way you can segregate your audience. So if you have a new deal or something, you can just email the people who are interested in construction or the people who are interested in software. So that is something that I really like about ConvertKit. Now I know there's a lot of other options because I tried to look into MailChimp as well, and I read this article basically and it compares them and it says basically ConvertKit is great for creators, MailChimp is better for small to medium-sized businesses. So since I'm just alone in this world, I'm gonna use ConvertKit and then I'm just bam. I don't even have to look into other softwares because I don't know about you, but I have like software like paralysis of choice. I'm like, oh, I could use this or I could use this. Just get going, just get going. Now, the cool thing about having and using this kind of software like ConvertKit, Ghost, or any of the software that you've kind of heard about as a creator is a lot of the times the automations are built into Zapier. So I use Zapier basically to move things around, move data around, right? New form, right? Somebody signs up for a new form, then I can add them as a member in Ghost, right? Because that's where I host my website. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do by automating stuff. I have a whole video on Zapier. I'll link it below as well. But this is a good thing to know and keep in the back of your mind if you're using email and automations and, you know, all the marketing tools and setting up your newsletter and doing lead magnets. It's good to know that these types of connections exist and they're very easy to use. They're low code. All you have to do is like click things, you know, click down here, like it's a select option. It's not, you're not coding anything. It's nothing crazy. To recap, because that was a lot of information that I just threw at you guys, you basically want to find something that you're 10% better at, validate that there's a market for it, and create an ideal customer, and then start generating free lead magnets to grow your email newsletter, and then eventually come up with a paid product and sell it to that email list. So it's very step-by-step. Now, I'm also in the beginning stages, so I'm with you guys. It's a lot of work to generate some free stuff. But if you think about it, like checklists, guides, trainings, a little mini course, that's a weekend. That's a weekend's worth of work, and you could get a ton of people to sign up and then eventually down the road sell even more bigger content. Now, if you're interested in seeing a step-by-step tutorial on how I use ConvertKit or Zapier, I will link them up here because I briefly showed you guys just to give you an idea of what those kind of softwares look like, open it up, show you how we actually physically do it, not just say, hey, make a lead magnet. I will link those up here so you guys can kind of walk through them. It's way more detailed than what I did in this video. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.